Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lauren. Thanks for being here and welcome to another TE video. Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A over my Telogen Effluvium or hair loss story. This was one that I was super excited to make. I see a ton of YouTubers do Q&A. I'm like, you know what? Why not a hair loss Q&A? So I went over on my Insta and I asked you guys some questions. I also took from a lot of the DMs and the comment questions that I get. Let's just jump into it. So I wrote them all down on my phone, so if you see me looking down, that's why. First one, how did your hair look? Wider part, thin temples, etc. So I would say I definitely had a wider part. That was kind of like the first tip off for me, was that I could see through my hair and I had a wider part. I would say all through the temples was really thin as well, and it was definitely diffused throughout. If you're losing in patches, that to me doesn't really sound like telogen effluvium. That sounds more like alopecia or something like that, but mine was just diffused. I noticed a wider part and a lot of thinning through here. How long did you shed? Okay, this seriously is the question that I get the most. Everybody wants to know my little timeline. My initial trigger event was an injury and major stress, and that happened in August of 2016. I had some shedding, but like not really anything that would have been noticeable. When I look back now, I'm like, okay, maybe it was. But I had that until about like February of 2017, and that's when like it was like, oh my god, I had no hair. And that's when I kind of, if you watch my first video, I asked my husband like, can you see through my hair? That was then. That was in February or early March of 2017. So from March until August, so that was about like 6 months, that's when it was shedding, it was coming out. And I knew it was shedding because every time I would go like this, more and more and more hair would come out, and it would never stop. Like I could have done that continuously. So that's how I knew that it would, like, wasn't normal. So that happened until like about August. So at that point, we're about like a year post. So that would make sense, 6 months past the initial event. And then I lost for about 6 months. And then ever since then, my regrowth, you know, in August of 2017 just sped up and the shedding stopped. So that's kind of how it's been for the last year. I now have like, I'll show you, all of this. This is all like new hair. So you can see that like all of this was gone at a time, and that's how it is kind of all through my head. So I am now 2 years post the initial trigger, so like a year and a half since my fallout was really, really bad, and that's kind of where I'm at now. How long did it last? Are you totally over it? No, obviously, as you can see, I mean, I would like my hair to all be long and to all be able to go in a ponytail. I would say that, you know, since all of that hair has grown back, I would say I'm about like 60% recovered, maybe 70% recovered, because it's there. It's just not like in this part of my hair. So my hair still feels thin. And again, that's like about 2 years post the trigger. So 1 year, I would say, fully in recovery. How much hair did you lose totals? Like 60 to 70%. How was your regrowth, the texture, etc.? Mine was really thin. I would also say that I did see some of my regrowth fall out, like my new hairs fall out. So if that's happening to you, that doesn't mean like it's over for you. That did happen to me. When did you feel like your hair looked more normal? I would say once these hairs, all these little ones, got to about 1 inch long, that's when I like really couldn't see my scalp anymore, and that made me feel confident and like my hair was more normal. I would say still my ponytail is obviously really thin compared to what it used to be, but that I can live with if you like can just like not see my visible pale scalp. How did you know you were in recovery? When I would go like this, like not as much was coming out, or a lot less was coming out, and I could see little baby hairs at the top, and they did stick up for a while until now they kind of stick down because they're a little bit longer. And again, like I said, like once these get about like 1 inch long, then I feel like you really feel like there's a noticeable difference and you feel like pretty confident. Has your hair loss ever recurred? No. I would say sometimes I get more shedding than other times, but I wouldn't say that it's recurred. What made the biggest difference? Okay, I actually really like this question, but I also don't, because I feel like it makes me sound crazy. I feel like what honestly made the biggest difference was believing that the hair would grow back. I know it sounds weird, but just believing that it was gonna be okay and that things were, like my body was gonna take care of itself and the hair was gonna grow back. That helped me so much, and that I felt like really made the biggest difference in my body, because I felt like I was telling my body what to do, and it was like, okay, yeah, we've got to grow this hair back. Like, she's giving us all of the nutrients that we need, she's doing all of the right things, she's trying to eliminate the stress, and like now, like I have to do my part. I don't know why I'm like targeting these weird tenses, but whatever. My body basically, I felt like was listening to my mind. So I feel like believing, is like cliche and cheesy as that sounds, really made the biggest difference. I would also say consistency. So whatever you're gonna do, be consistent with it. I think that consistently focusing on your diet and eliminating stress and focusing on your scalp health, I would say that that's what I saw made the biggest difference, but only when I was consistent with it, not if I just, did a few things and then got frustrated and did something else. So I would definitely say believing and consistency, that's what really made the biggest difference for me. Should I shave my head? Okay, I get this all the time. In my opinion, I would not shave my head because it just seems really drastic and I'm just like not about that lifestyle. I also have talked to my friend who did shave her head because one of her family members had cancer. And I asked her that because I was like, did your hair grow back thicker? Like, what did you feel like? And she said, no, it grew back the same. So I guess for me, to shave my head would be really shocking, but if to you that doesn't feel shocking, but I wouldn't do it thinking that it's gonna like really, really affect the quality of your hair growing back. That's just my personal opinion and what I personally have heard through her and a few other people. That may not be the case. And everybody's situation is different, but I do get asked that a lot and I'm just gonna address it. I would not shave my head personally, but if you feel like that's good for you, go ahead. Pull out those, what are those things called? I don't even know. Shaver? Electric shaver? I don't know. What did you do to stay sane? Okay, so I made a mental tips video. I think I might make another one as well because I thought of a couple other things I want to add. But I feel like the biggest thing that I did to stay sane was realize that I was more than just like hair and use hair powder. As contradictory as those are, like, you're so awesome, you're more than vanity, like, use this and be vain. But seriously, those were the two things that helped me the most. Knowing that I was more than just hair, so everybody has their stuff, everybody goes through things, and this just happened to be what I was going through. I also am very much that person that has that mentality of like, I'm not gonna sit here and bitch about it if I'm not doing everything that I can do. Once I've done everything, then I'll sit here and bitch. How did you style your hair? So I did a video on that. I'll also link that down below. But I either would go just with my hair like down like this, or I would go with a sleek, like more like chic, kind of like tight to the scalp type look. I always think like avoiding product is good. Just because, like I said in a couple other videos, sometimes the product can bind multiple pieces of hair together and you can end up losing more. So that is all that I have for you guys. If you have any other questions, let me know. I really enjoyed doing this. It's so fun to hear from you guys. If you aren't following me on Insta already, go ahead and follow me over there. That's where I do all of my polls and where I actually got all of these questions from. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate, and I hope that you guys have a good day. Bye.